So we're going to start laying on our backs with the knees bent a little wider than hip distance apart, and your arms to the side to a comfortable distance with the palms facing up. And taking a moment here with your eyes closed to tap into your body, tap into your breath, come into a little bit of a grounding here. Allowing the day that might have been very active for you to just start softening a little bit away from your awareness. And allowing yourself to settle. We're in this time of the day that we're going toward the nighttime and the rest. So starting this practice tonight with the intention of already feeling that grounding through us. And letting the breath be a little deeper. Maybe flow a little easier in and out of the lungs. And take a moment in particular to feel the breath around the lung area. So as you inhale, feel how you're pressing gently against the floor to the back of the lungs, and you're expanding to the front of the lungs up throughout the chest. And as you exhale, you're allowing the back of the lungs to soften a little deeper to the ground as you release the air out, and you feel the rib cage softening as well as the space between the ribs. So feel that breath in that rib cage lung area for 2 or 3 more rounds on your own. And as you start having more of a connection to the breath, to the body, being a little more present with yourself and getting a little away from your thoughts and your mind, see what arises as being your sankalpa, your intention for practice tonight. That may be the sankalpa that you've been formulating for a few days now or for a few weeks. It can be that main sankalpa, main intention, or it can be simply anything that arises right here, right now, tonight. And when you're ready, we're going to start gently dropping the knees from side to side into a gentle twist. Keeping the shoulders and the arms heavy, the head in position to center, and just moving from waistline down. Rolling from inner edge to outer edge of the feet as the knees and hips drop gently from one side to the other side. And the hips is not a major twist here. It's just one hip that releases a little bit the grip of the floor as the opposite hip becomes a little heavier into that rolling action. Take a couple more here. And then bringing everything back to center. Bring your arms behind you, palms facing up. Maybe you squeeze the shoulder blades under a little bit just to make things a little more comfortable, but also to broaden the chest, to open up that lung area a little wider all the way to the armpits. And you're going to feet a little closer in to about hip distance apart, sliding your feet maybe a little closer to your sit bones also. And then pressing into your feet, you're going to roll the tailbone up, lift the hips just a bit, and then roll back down and relax into that natural slight arch of the low back. And then press again into the feet to curl the tailbone up, lift the hips just a little bit, and exhale, land, and roll those hips back to neutral. Inhale, press into the feet, roll the tailbone up, lift the hips. And exhale, land and relax forward. 2 more. Inhale, curl up and lift. Maybe there's a gentle pause at the end of the breath. And then exhale, roll the spine back down. Neutral spine, heavy edges of the tailbone and sacrum. And 1 more, roll up, lift a bit. And exhale, roll back down. Come back to neutral, fold both knees up, grab the knees with your hands, swinging your arms forward, and give a little press and push here, knees into the chest, gentle massage on the low back, mid back, and upper back. And release gently the knees away slightly, grab the knees, hands, roll your knees out in opposite directions. And reverse. Keep on breathing nice and smooth. And then bringing your knees back to center and together. Now knees and feet together, roll out to one direction, tracing circles around the sacrum, the low back. If you've been sitting on a chair all day, that should feel really good here. And reverse. And back to center, keeping your right knee in, extending your left leg out, either with the knee bent and foot on the floor, or you can extend your leg literally all the way out. And we're going to inhale and roll up, shoulders and head. And exhale, roll back down. Inhale, roll up. And exhaling down. More, breathe in as you come up, chin in, forehead aiming to the right knee without really going there, but that's the intention and the direction. And last one, roll up, hold here, take a breath or two here, engage your belly at the core, right around the navel a little more actively. And then roll the spine down and release that right foot down, bending your left knee up. You pick and choose if you want to keep that right knee bent and the foot flat on the floor, or you can extend your right leg forward. Sometime at the beginning of the practice, that's a little more challenging here. And we're going to inhale, same movement, roll up, and exhale, roll down. Inhale, come up. And exhale, roll down. Two more, breathe in. And out. And last, breathe in. Hold here just a little bit more, a breath or two. And exhale, release all the way down. Fold both knees up. Rock the body from side to side and completely rolling, meaning that you roll onto one hip, one shoulder, knee, and even one cheek. And then you go to the other side, big rolls from side to side. Last two rolls. And back to center. Now you're going to grab behind your legs and you're going to use the weight of your legs to pull you forward and roll forward and back. Two more. And on the next one, we'll come to a cross-legged seated position. Facing the front of your mat. I'm coming sideways. And sitting nice and tall in easy pose or in half lotus or full lotus, whatever you choose to be. Hands resting on the knees. We're going to give ourselves nice rolls. Rotating the spine around. You can keep your eyes open or you can close your eyes gently. Find your breath in the movement. I can never highlight enough the connection to the breath and reminding yourself to go back to the breath again and again. One more rotation here. And we're going to reverse, go the opposite side. Find your own circles. I'm not giving you specific guidance whether you want to go into high circles, tiny circles right up, or if you want to explore broader space and stretch more into the circular motion. Whatever your body is wanting you to go into tonight. And back to center, realign, bring your arms up, stretch up, exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms out and up. Maybe at the top of the breath, hold and then slide through the face down to the heart. 2 more, expand the breath. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, trace through your face, through the center of the chest, down to the belly. 1 more, breathe in. Maybe hold, exhale. And next one, inhale, arms out and up. Grab your left wrist with your right hand and exhale, tilt out and stretch out to the right. Press down in your sit bones, inhale back up. Exhale, switch, pull and stretch out to the left. Inhale. Switch, exhale to the right. Inhale. Switch, last one, exhale to the left. Coming back to center, grab your left wrist again with your right hand, and we're going to rotate around the chest, rib cage, and shoulders. So you're using your right hand to rotate your left arm. And obviously that makes everything rotate. But that intention is you keep on holding right hand into the left wrist, pulling that left arm out. Couple more. And then reverse, still holding the same wrist and reversing the motion and trying to isolate the movement to the upper back, chest, around the rib cage and shoulders instead of rolling the spine here, specifically lower down. 1 more. Back to center, palms together, stretch up, inhale. And exhale, switch, right hand to the left hand to the right wrist, and let's rotate out. And stir and stretch. And we're having live music with some honking outside. It might remind a few of us of India. 1 more. And then reverse, opposite direction. Roll and stretch. And back to center, palms together, stretch up above your head. And exhale, release out and down. Hands resting on the knees. Give a few shoulder rub here as you roll the shoulders around. Feel as if you were massaging the shoulders up on top to the back of the shoulders, and even feel the massage to the chest. And then rotate the opposite direction a few times. And back to center, back to neutral. Bringing hands together, palms together, and plant the base of your hands on top of your head. And we're going to breathe here 1 round of breath of fire. And what you're going to aim to is breath of fire is down here, starts down here. And think about the flames progressively going up, warming up and expanding and opening up this chest area and the lungs. And then aiming even further up to the space between your hands and the connection to the crown of the head. And you're going to see that as you do that, you might have waves where it feels really it's running up and other times it stays down here. So try to kind of modulate your rhythm and see how you can kind of fluff up and then let it go down. And we'll do that a few times through the different rounds of the breath of fire. Take a breath in and a long breath out. And start pumping the breath at the belly. Sending the flames up throughout the chest. And aiming up to those hands and the space between the hands, feel the heat. And then let it go back down to the pit of the fire. And flame up. Into the chest and lung area. Up through the head into your hands. And down, back down to the fire pit. Last round. Flames up. Chest and lungs up, up, up through the head. In the warmth of the hands. And back down to the fire pit. Lastly, exhale. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Hold the breath in. Tuck the chin in gently. Squeeze the pelvic floor. Hold, hold, hold. And release. Arms out and down. Give a little shake to the shoulders. Maybe a little gentle movement to the head. From side to side. Maybe a few rolls. Nice and easy in one direction. And the other direction, rotating out the opposite way without tilting your head too far back. You don't want to pinch your nerve there in the back, the vagal nerve. And back to center. And let's transition to all fours. Finding hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. That's going to a nice opening of the spine. And our focus tonight, I like for us to focus in that capacity of the lungs and the unclogging and the activation of the lungs. So as you go into your cow pose, instead of just thinking I'm tilting the tailbone up and I'm arching my back, think about spreading the space across the chest from one arm to the other arm, but also feel the stretch from the low lungs towards the low belly and from the low lungs up to the base of the throat. And then exhaling into the space between the shoulder blades to the back of the lungs. Inhaling, stretching forward and up. Inflating the breath really full into that rib cage. And exhale, squeezing up and back to the space between the shoulder blades. 2 more. Inhale. Inflate your lungs to the full capacity. Feel that ballooning effect into the ribs. And exhale, round up, spread across the shoulder blades to shoot and stretch your lungs back as you squeeze the air out. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Coming back to center, we're going to drop the sit bones back and anchor the elbows forward, as far forward as we can, elbows parallel to each other. And then you're going to bring your palms together and your hands behind your head. And the action here is pulling onto the upper arms as you keep anchoring those elbows and you're sliding your sit bones back. You can broaden your knees a little wider if you need a lot of extra space for your belly to rest. And really feel that stretch into the armpits, the upper lungs, and the upper back. Couple more breath here. And stretching the arms back out. Raise your hands. Come up to all fours. And now we're going to drop into the forearms, sit bones up. And we're going to work into that chest area again, into a rounding and a dropping, just of that chest area, back of the shoulders. So I personally like to inhale, which is not the usual standard way. I like to inhale as I'm rounding up and really spread that space between the shoulder blades through the inhale, and exhale, drop the chest down. Inhale, push away, and exhale, drop it down. One more, breathe in and out. Stretch your hands forward, bring your forehead down, sit bone stretching back and up, pull and extend. Maybe stretching into the armpits. If you feel really comfy here, your shoulders are stretchy, you can bring the chin down instead of the forehead. One more breath. And then pop up. Walk your hands back in and take a deep, deep cat pose here. Dropping the head down. And coming back to neutral. Stepping your right foot back. Lifting that right leg up. Rotate your right ankle up into the air and keep on squaring the hips to the floor. Pull your low belly in. Engage nice and long from the back of the foot to the crown of the head. Lengthen out. And reverse the rotation of the foot here. Keep on breathing nice and long all along. And stop the rotation of the foot. Now we're going to rotate the whole leg. So you're rotating the toes gently in, and then you're opening the toes and hip up. Inhale, rotate in, square the hips. Exhale, rotate out. Breathe in. Keep the belly engaged. Breathe out. Squeeze. Two more. Breathe in. And out. And one last. Breathe in. And out. And stay. Come to the fingertips of your right hand. Flex your back foot really strong, your lifted leg. And then stretch out and away from the right foot, right leg, and into the right hip. And then find your point of balance. See if you can lift that right arm up. Stretch away. Open the chest. Soften the right elbow to pull the right shoulder back. You can keep a nice soft gaze. You can look down, you can look forward, you can look up to your right hand. Turn your right toes in a little bit more, engage through the inner thigh, and lengthen the spine away from the hip. Then you're going to land gracefully without collapsing. Right foot down. And you're going to poke and lift that left side of the waistline up. So the right side can pop up. And then you're going to bring your right arm toward the right ear, rotate the palm down, and stretch. Imagine that you're almost arching the side body, going into kind of a half moon here. So instead of collapsing the rib cage, you're pushing that rib cage. You're pressing into your left hand and pop the rib cage up to the ceiling. Press down into the right foot. Breathe into the right lung. One more breath. And then neutralize back to center. Bring your right arm up. And rotate. Right hand down, pivot onto your back foot. Stay on the ball of the foot, stretch back. And release your right knee down. Realign to all fours. Bring your belly gently in and up to engage and activate and stabilize your back. And then lift the left leg up. Rotate your left ankle. Soft gaze to the ground, keeping your head parallel to the floor, your ears away from the shoulders, the chest soft between the support of the arms. And then reverse the rotation of the left foot. Breathe in and breathe out. Stop the rotation of the foot. Turn the toes in as you flex the foot. And then exhale, rotate hip and leg out and up. Inhale, rotate in. Exhale, rotate out. Breathe in, squeeze it back in, toes in, engaging all the way to the inner thigh. And breathe out and open, rotate your toes out. One more. Roll in. And rotate out. And from here, bring your left foot down. Plant that left foot. Push the floor away from your right hand to pop the left side of the rib cage. Lifting the right side of the waistline up. Come to the fingertips on your left hand. And then see if you can find your balance to extend your left arm up. Bringing your left arm across and rounding that rib cage up a little bit more. You can relax your head here, look underneath your left armpit, press into the back foot, keep that back leg really strong, and keep on lifting and spreading into the left side of the rib cage, breathing into the left lung. One more breath here. And bringing that left arm parallel to the floor, left arm up. And releasing left hand down. And release left knee down. Give yourself a little swing across the hips. And back to center. Stepping back again because we forgot to stretch that left leg. You're going to press back to the back of the heel and the back of the leg. And now release back down. Walk your hands a little further forward. Scroll the toes under, lift up to downward facing dog. So here again, working into that back area. I'm going to take my t-shirt off so you can see a little better, hopefully. So working to the back and the front and the sides of the lungs. Focus the work here in your down dog to that area. So we're going to round forward a little bit, tuck the chin in, and then push back and drop that chest a little lower. And then pop up and down. So a little pulse around the rib cage, around the lungs, a little massage here. Pushing away and rounding and dropping and stretching. And find your breath in this movement that goes across the shoulders, upper back, and chest. So eventually it becomes like a wave that doesn't have a stop in between the rounding up and the dropping, and it becomes more circular, forward, down, back. If you need to drop on your knees at any point because this is a little too challenging on your arms, please do so. If not, keep on going. Last two. And last one. Stretch all the way into your full down dog. And shifting forward, bringing your left foot down, right knee down. Relax your back toes and lift up into a low lunge. So here, normal lunge, regular lunge, your arms are up. That's kind of a traditional yogic lunge. So here, instead, we're going to bring the hands together and bring those hands to the base of the skull. So the hands are pointing down along the neck, and then you're hugging with the base of your palms into the base of the skull. And from here, you're going to stretch that skull a little further away, stretch the neck, and then open the elbows out and breathe wide here. One more breath. Coming back to center, stretch the arms up. Inhale. Exhale, release the hands down and step back into down dog. Take a couple breaths here, rebalancing, recalibrating. Maybe you're walking your dog a little bit to find a little bit of fluid movement here. And let's go to the other side. Right foot steps forward, left knee goes down. Ground first, left and rise, inhaling. Hands together, exhale, plant the hands again to the base of the skull, hug with your forearms, the head, and stretch, then open, elbows out, pulling, opening deeper, breathing throughout the chest. One more breath. Inhale back to center as you stretch the arms up. Exhale, release the hands down. Step back into down dog. Walk your dog out. Feel the heat. I'm personally feeling some heat building around the shoulders and the chest, and that's what we're looking for. So probably you're experiencing a little bit of the same. And stepping forward, left foot again. Right knee down. This time rising with hands to heart in Anjali Mudra and prayer pose. And we're going to go back, hips back, pressing into the front foot. As we inhale and exhale, twist and lunge. Inhale, push up. Exhale, twist and lunge. Inhale away, using the front leg more specifically to push me away, and exhale, twist and lunge. 3 more. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And last one. Breathe in and out, and stay. Anchor yourself, stretch into the right quad and right hip, and go into lunging a little deeper into the left hip. Make that connection between the elbow and the knee, and pressing against the elbow, twist across the chest. One more breath. Then press down into your feet. Engage Mula Bandha, pelvic floor lock. And then lift back up. Inhale. And exhale, release. Hands down. Step back into down dog. Deep, long breath in. Deep, long breath out. Stepping forward, right foot. Bringing the left knee down. Rising up with hands to heart. Find your lunge first, and then pushing back. Inhale, exhale, twist, and go into your lunge. Inhale back to center, pushing your hips back. Exhale, twist, elbow to knee. Inhale. Exhale. And one lasting movement. Inhale. Exhale. Hook, anchor, press, and twist. Stay in your lunge. Open the chest wide. You can look over the right shoulder or look forward. Or even if your neck is bothering, you can look down. Still focusing on your breath into the chest area and the upper back. So it might not be unusual to release slightly into rounding as you inhale. And exhale, breath through your palms and squeeze shoulder blades together. Release the breath out. Last one. Inhale, press to your front foot. Release back to center. And exhale, hands back down to the ground. Scroll your back toes under this time. Press, lift, and step forward both feet to hip distance apart. Grab opposite elbows and hang in forward fold. Deepen the breath, deepen the grounding through your feet as you tilt the sit bones up. And adding an extra stretch here, especially working on your spine, you can clasp your fingers and bring your hands to the back of the head. Again, aiming to that spot, to the sides of the base of the skull, where you anchor your hands here, and you gently pull through the weight of the arms, the elbows down, pulling gently on your spine. One more breath, heavy head to the ground. And then releasing your arms down. Bend your knees. Bring belly and chest on your thigh if you can. Do your best here. The lower you bring your hips down, the easier this gets. And then hands clasped to the low back. And you're going to inhale, stretch the knuckles back. Try to keep the hands together. Roll the shoulders back. And exhale, fold head between the knees. And then stretching the legs up. Allow your arms to gently pull away from the low back. Going to the shoulder stretch. Can move your head a little bit from side to side. Make sure that things are loose and nice here. And here, one of my dearest teachers years ago was highlighting really, really strongly to keep the hands together to prevent injuries in the rotator cuffs. So that's one thing that I've been quite diligent throughout my practice to protect my shoulders. So try to avoid releasing your hands out and away and keep that integrity here. And then we're going to bend the left knee and rotate the shoulders toward the right knee. And then bring yourself back to center as you straighten both legs. And opposite. Right knee bends and you roll your shoulders toward the left. And then inhale through center. Exhale, bend the left knee. Rotate your shoulders to the right. Inhale, center. Switch, bend the right knee. Rotate your shoulders to the left. Bring yourself back to center. Release your hands to the low back. Bend the knees, keep your hands together, but rotate your palms up as you drop your elbows to the side, round in. And then release your hands completely and roll the spine up to standing. Find your Tadasana, your mountain pose, and using your knees as a little bit of a springs in the knees, we're going to swing the arms forward and back. Nice and loose in the shoulders, loose through the arms. Because eventually, as you broaden that movement and find that momentum, your shoulders might rotate like mine a little bit from side to side, as well as the hips a little bit. And let it just go that way. You don't need to be stiff forward. Loosen up. Couple more. And slow down. And find center. Inhale, arms out and up, stretch. Maybe now you have a back bend available. Make sure you're not pushing your hips forward. Keep the thighs back. Engage Mula Bandha and stretch from the upper back. Exhale, forward fold. Take a halfway up on an inhale. And exhale, relax and bow down. Find the bottom of the breath out. Maybe you close your eyes a little bit here. And then bending the knees, plant your hands, step back both feet, and either stay in high plank or lower down your knees before we go into chaturanga. Inhale, take your time to peel your spine up. Keep the shoulders back, lift up. Maybe you move your head a little bit. You loosen up around the neck. And exhale, push back into down dog. Take a full breath in and out here. At the bottom, at the very end of the breath out, squeeze Mula Bandha, squeeze your belly in and up, feeling the action of Uddiyana Bandha here. And step forward both feet to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway up. Rolling the tailbone up, exhale, fold. Bending the knees softly, roll the spine up and rise. Once you reach the mountain, inhale, extend and reach up, back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Mindful movement, synchronizing breath and movement halfway up. Exhale, fold deep. Close your eyes at the bottom of the breath out. And then stepping back as you bend the knees, ground the hands, step back to your plank or modified plank, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, roll up. Feel the front body stretch. Don't make it short. And exhale, down dog. Staying breath, one full round here. Breathing in. And breathing out, squeeze Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, and step forward both feet. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Soft bend in the knees to roll one vertebra at a time up. Inhale, arms out and up, stretch into a back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Synchronizing breath to lift you up. Exhale, bow and ground. Close your eyes. Go within, folding onto the legs. Bottom of the exhale, where you have your empty breath, transition. Plant your hands. Inhale, step back. Full inhale, exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down dog. Deep inhale, long exhale, squeezing Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Stepping forward both feet. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, relaxing down. Bend the knees softly. Roll the spine up one last time. Expand and reach. This time we're not going to go in forward fold. And reach together above your head and trace down through your face, down to the heart center. Pause here. Close your eyes. Take a moment here to feel the body, feel the breath, Feel the heartbeat right behind your thumbs. One more breath, bowing into presence here, honoring what you feel and your state of awareness as you bring all your senses to this present moment. And then opening your eyes, shifting your weight to your right foot, find your balance, step long back with your left foot, and open out into warrior two. Spread out, reposition as needed, find your spot, find your steady standing pose here. And we're going to tilt back, left hand to the back leg, right arm up. And from here, bend the elbow and grab gently behind the left ear and use the weight of your head to pull and stretch. Find the right bend of the front knee that gives you a wide distance between the back leg and the front leg. So you're pressing back into and long and straight into the back leg, and you're leveraging with the right leg. And making sure here that you're not collapsing, right? So keep on engaging as much as you can Mula Bandha and feel that engagement right above the pubic bone of a mild Uddiyana Bandha. And then from that anchor, from waistline down, it's anchored and stable. Stretch and open, not only sideways, but roll the elbow back a little bit and open from the front of the right side of the belly to the right side of the chest, all the way to the shoulder blade in the back. So here, engaging Mula Bandha prevents the compression of the low back, so make sure that you keep it engaged. Take another breath here. And then soften back to center. Soften that right arm elbow. Let it slide down through the right leg as you start straightening that right leg and progressively switching to triangle pose. Left arm up. Strong legs, sliding your hips back. Your right hip is sliding towards the back, and you're almost having that sensation that you're going to be able to stack your hips perpendicular to the floor. Take an inhale here. Looking down, soften that front knee to exhale. Rotate shoulders, release the left hand down. Bend the knee, the front knee a little deeper to bring your left foot, heel and toes further up. And then squeeze and square the hips, slide them back and come into pyramid. Hips facing forward, lengthen the chest forward, find space, and then fold onto your front leg. Couple more breath here. Expanding the inhale to that same area we've been working throughout this class, into the upper back, the space between the shoulder blades. And as you exhale and squeeze the breath out of the belly, feel the front of the chest melting towards the leg. And then pressing down into your feet, you're going to lift your head away from your right knee. Bend that right knee. Rotate your right toes in. Walk out to the side and across. Find that spot right in between where your feet are coming to parallel. Hands underneath the shoulders. Push up, stretch the spine away. Spread the butt cheeks. Bring your big toes slightly in. So now you're aiming to align the outer edges of the feet, lifting the inner arches of the feet. Spread and rotate the inner thighs back. One more breath here. With that really strong action of the leg, you're going to fold forward. Find that space for the spine that is well supported through the action of the legs. Relax your head down. Here you may want to walk your hands behind you in between the legs and back. And maybe your head is gonna come and hover or even touch the floor. One more breath here. Keep your legs actively engaged. Don't lose the connection of pada bandha, the feet engaging in this inner arching lifting, that's pada bandha. And then walking your hands back to their initial position forward, lengthen the spine, rotate your left foot out, walk towards your left foot, bending that front knee. This time is the left knee. You kick your right heel back, square the hips, and fly up to warrior two. Make sure your left knee is right on top of the ankle, is not folding in, and you keep on engaging the inner arching of the right foot, of the left foot, down into the ball of the big toe. Tilting back, inhale, right hand can land gently onto the back leg, and then exhale, bend the elbow as you grab gently behind your right ear. Using your head weight, inhale, stretch up and pull back. Engage Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, stabilize into the legs to find more space and open not only the side body, but also the left side of the front body. Make sure the right shoulder stays relaxed and then lift to the ear. Soften your right arm. One more breath. All the strength is in the legs. And then soften in and up and start your transition. Straightening the front leg, hinging the hips back, serving that left arm out and down, and then extending your right arm up. Find your Trikonasana here. Deep, long breath. Keep on reaching to the crown of the head, don't collapse. And pushing that right hip back, left hip stacks under, or that's the sensation you're getting into. One more breath here. Then softening the left knee, rotate that right arm, rotate the shoulders and chest. Find the floor here. Then move that back foot, heel and toes forward. Push the hips back, square the hips to the front, and start your fold into pyramid pose. And breathe. Big breathing into the fullness of the lungs. One more breath here. Lifting the head away from the knee, bend your left knee, rotate the left foot in, walk your hands out to the side, find your center, rotate your right foot out, and then kick the heels a little further away, toes in, find the outer edges of the feet to a parallel position. Engage the lifting of the inner arches, press to the ball of the feet, and fold. Keep that activation of the legs, rotating the thighs back, spreading the sit bones apart, and relaxing your forward fold. Maybe you've reached a new dimension in your forward fold. It feels maybe a slightly bit different from the first time you did it tonight. You might have a little more open space in the rotation of the hips. Relax your head down. Maybe you shake it a little bit. Again, it's your choice if you want to walk your hands back or grab the ankles, or whichever variation that you feel like doing tonight. One last breath here. And walking your hands back to position underneath the shoulders, lengthening the spine forward. Now rotating again toward the front of your mat. Right foot goes forward, You're walking toward that right foot. You're bending the front knee to pivot onto your back toes. And you step up left foot to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Bending the knees deep, hands to the floor, toes out, heels out, toes out. Just find the right spot, maybe not that wide, maybe it's a little closer in for you. For me, it's a little wider out to go into the squat. Drop the sit bones down to the space between the heels. Make sure your knees are not dropping in. Keep the knees right on top of the feet, so you're actively pressing into your feet. And again, you have that sense that the inner arches of the feet are lifting up. Hands to heart, bringing the elbows to the cushiony part of the inner knees. And then pressing here, lift the spine up as you drop the hips down. So here we're going to go in movement. You're going to round in and stretch your arms forward. Inhaling into the back body. And then squeeze in, exhale, lengthen up. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, slide in, press, and shoot the spine up. One more. Breathe in. And breathe out. Stay here, realigning, readjusting, finding the connection between the knees and the elbows, the pressing of the palms together, the shoulders rolling back, and the head nicely floating right on top of the spine. Ears ideally are right on top of the shoulders. So you're looking forward, either dropping. Nice long neck. One more breath here, if you can hold it. And then soften in, release the arms. Find the floor behind you with the right hand or the left hand and land. Once you land, bring the sole of the feet together in butterfly and let the wings fly a little bit up and down. Find the support for your back. In my case, I come to the fingertip. That gives me a little more leverage. But if your arms are long, you can come down, making sure you're not rounding. Keep on opening. That's the whole theme tonight, of opening the chest and catering to the lungs. So roll the shoulders back even. In this case, you can bend the elbows a little bit and give that rotation of the elbows back. And keep the action of the legs. Soft, long breath. Soft gaze, gazing down to the floor. We're going to go into more grounding as we progressively go toward the end of the class. So keep that gaze down. If you keep the gaze up, that's going to kick in more fire. To the level of the horizon is a little more neutral, and down is more grounding. And stop the wings here. Press the knees as far down as they can go as you lift the sternum high. Take one more breath here, chin slightly in. And then soften and release. Hands to the ankles. Slide your feet a little further forward to diamond shape. And we're going to rock the hips forward and back. Using your hands to pull onto the shins to rock forward and then release slightly as you go back. Rocking from hips to the chest, to a gentle movement of the head. Couple more. And back to center. Let's go into a little balance here. I'm pulling back so that I'm more in the middle of the screen because I don't know exactly what you're seeing here. And then you're going to grab behind your ankles on both sides. Walk the feet in. And then shift your weight back and see if you can lift the feet up. Keep the feet together. I'm using the forearms to press down onto the inner thigh and balance here. From this position, we're going to aim to the big toes. You can release one hand at a time. Grab the big toe, index, middle finger, and thumb, wrapping around, and then the other. And we're going to pull in, and then open one leg out, exhale. Inhale, pull in. Exhale, open the other leg out. It doesn't have to go all straight out. You can have a bend knee into that direction and keep on lifting the elbow to the side. Don't drop it. And then pull in. Inhale. And exhale, opposite leg. Chest forward. Breathe in. And open. Exhaling. One more on each side. Breathe in. Pull the feet in. Exhale, open. Last one, breathe in. Exhale, open. Breathe in and stay. Exhaling. Breathe in. And see if you can keep both legs out. If you're not able to go all straight legs, you can bend the knees, but pull your knees back to the side of the rib cage. Pressing in, almost like doing happy baby pose, but balancing on the sit bones. If you're able to stretch the leg out, go there. Lift the sternum, chin stays in, you're not neither tilting forward, no going back, but pulling in and to the back of the neck. One more breath. And then here, that's the little challenge here. And you may want to take it or leave it. So the easy way out is you bring your feet back in and you land. And the little challenging one is here. You release hands from feet and then you gracefully land and come to sitting. Give a few rolls to the spine, into the hip space, around the sit bones. And reverse. Back to center. Land your hands in front of you. I'm going to face you so it's a little easier to see what I'm doing. Even though sideways was a good position too. Hands here. And we're going to rock forward and back. So you're pulling and rocking. Don't worry really about the feet. You don't have to specifically flex the feet. You're just pulling and rotating into the inner thighs and then rocking back and rounding. Couple more. And find a center. Now flex the feet and kick the heels away and ground the back of the leg and see how far forward you can reach. So maybe it's just a couple of inches. And that's fine. You find that edge and you stay here for a bit. Maybe you're able to go a little further and find a second edge and keep your feet engaged. Keep on grounding through the back of the legs. You don't have to lock the knees. You can let the knees pop up a little bit, but make sure that you're connecting to the back of the calves and the back of the heels, pressing down. And after a couple more breaths, maybe you're able to go a little further. Maybe not. Eventually, maybe for some of you, you're able to drop on your forearms. Maybe not. It's optional. All those are different gradients and variations of the same stretch. So just honor where you are. Check in with your breath, making sure you keep on breathing here, that you're not holding it. And maybe you feel super comfy here and you keep on going a little lower. Keep the legs active. Try to keep the toes straight up. Don't let the toes drop in. Keep that activation of outer rotation. So not all the way to ballerina kind of feet, like going all the way back and completely external rotation of the hips, right? But at least keeping the toes straight up, kind of the feet perpendicular to the floor. And breathe. You're probably hearing my breathing here because I'm almost kissing the microphone. So You might hear that naturally the ujjayi breath comes into place with that rhythmic and sounding breath that brings some warmth into my inner thighs and hips. Stay with it for one more breath. And then start your journey back in and up. Be gentle, be progressive, don't release all at once, even if it's really tight. You're like, oh my gosh, finally we're releasing the pose. Go progressively. Walk in. Find your seat. Fold your right leg in. You can use your hands to help it. Bring the right foot to the inside of the left leg. So here the hips are facing the side, and that's the way that we want it. We're not going into Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. We're staying sideways because we're going to go into side stretch. So left hand goes to the leg. Press into that left hand, whichever position you're landing the hand, obviously not on the knee. And from here, you're going to pivot and open the right shoulder back and kind of align your shoulders with the leg. And from here, you're going to open that right arm as far back and then rotate in. And in that rotation, you rotate your little finger in close to the right ear, almost as if you were sliding your right arm behind the ear. And then from that pull and stretch, you may slide along the left leg a little bit. You can find the inside of the leg or the floor as a pivoting point to press against the leg, arm against the leg, and open back a little bit more. 1 or 2 more breaths here. Then from that really active arm, you're going to rotate back, all the way back and across the low back. See if you can either plant the back of the hands to the sacrum or wrap your right hand across to your left thigh. And then from the connection of your forearm and your back and the wrapping, open your right shoulder further back. Then here, I personally like to reach out to the right leg with the left hand or even to the shin, and then stretch out and tilt. Make sure your neck is loose. It's very tempting here to tense the neck, and then you get into neck pain eventually after somewhere. So make sure that you're loosening things up here. 1 more breath. And then soften the left hand. Find that left hand support with the left leg. Push away and soften the right arm. And release. Find center again. Both legs out. Give a little rock of the hips forward and back to reset everything before we go on the other side. And then fold your left foot in to the inside of the right leg. Flex that right foot. Rotate the shoulders to align the shoulders with the right leg. Right hand to the leg, pressing to rotate a little bit more. And then bring the left arm back. Reach back. Left up. Start rotating the little finger in. So you're rotating the whole arm and bring it to almost behind the ear, or you're aiming to that. And stretch and pull as you lean out to the right a little bit, but keeping that openness. Think more about opening the chest and the shoulder than leaning over to the right. Position your right hand to the inside of the leg or the right elbow. Find your way into finding that anchor, that pivoting action. And then swing that left arm far out and back. Feel the stretch to the front of the chest on the left side. Keep the length of the spine and then wrap your arm behind you. Land your left hand flat to the low back or sacrum, or see if you can grab the top of the right thigh. And then going to the next journey, the next stretch. Go deeper. Rotate and breathe. Again, here I personally, but that might not work for you. I personally like to grab the left knee and use that right hand to pull and torque and rotate a little deeper. Move your head around. One more breath here. And then start softening. Right hand, release that left arm. And come back to center. Stretching both legs out to the front. Give a few rolls here around the spine, around the sit bones. And back to center. Flex your feet, grab your big toes if you can, or the top of the legs a little lower, and we're going to round in. If you're able to grab your feet, you can use the action of the feet pulling forward a little bit and stretching into the back a little deeper. Again, aiming to that spot between the shoulder blades. And then soften in and up, stretch up, release the feet, and let's roll the spine down. Chin in, all the way to the mat. Bending the knees up to bring the feet about hip distance apart. And we're gonna go and explore the movement that we almost started the class with, where you can relax your arms a little broader out to the side, and you're gonna tug the tailbone up, lift, and this time you're gonna lift your hips a little higher to more of a bridge, and then roll back down, but you're not gonna go to that high bridge. You just rock up and down. And now we're going to go into opposite movement, meaning that you're lifting up into your bridge. And that's for me an exhale. That works better with my exhale, but that might be an inhale for you. And then you roll back down. And once you reach the floor, you roll your hips forward along the floor. You gently arch the lower back, chin comes in. And then you shift back to neutral. You press into the feet. You roll the tailbone up, you lift. And then lower, inhaling. Exhale, rock the hips forward. One more. Inhale, curl in. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, roll the hips forward. Come back to neutral. Feet together, sole of the feet together as you open the knees out. Then you're going to slide your hands, palms facing down to underneath your buttocks, your glutes. Pull the elbows in, squeeze the elbows in, press them down, and then pressing onto your forearms and elbows, poke the chest between the shoulders up. So that would be like your first level of If you're pretty good here, you can press even higher and slide along the head to bring the crown of the head to the ground. But make sure you're pressing into the forearms and elbows. Roll the shoulders back, lift the center of the chest up. Ground into the tailbone. Feel the stretch through the back. You're lengthening, you're not just arching. One more breath here. Then keep on pressing on the elbows and forearms to bring the chin back in and roll yourself back down. Land. Release your hands from underneath the butt cheeks. Then close the knees up towards your elbow, your armpits, and then close them in toward the chest. Hands on top of the shins, press gently, bounce a little few times, pushing and releasing a little bit. And then stop that pulsing of the knees in and out. Extend both legs up to the ceiling, about hip distance apart, arms up. Make sure you ground the back of the shoulders heavy, chin gently in. Rotate wrists and ankles up into the air. Kind of play with your fingers, play with your toes here. Ground across the low back, across the shoulder blades, and feel a mild curving of the spine in between those two spaces. And reverse. Move fingers, hands, feet, and toes up into the clouds. And bring them still to center and up into the sky. And stay here for a bit, noticing any sensations, any shaking anywhere, any tensing that is not needed, or some tensing like activation of the belly that supports the legs being up and the arms being up. One or two more breaths here, trying to find the weight of the legs grounding into the hip sockets and the weight of the arms grounding into the shoulder sockets. And though there's parts of the body that are for sure quite active here, see if you can tap in the areas of the body that are not needed to hold the pose and can soften and relax into a sense of grounding and melting. Now we're going to start bending the knees and placing your hands to the inside of the knees. Open your knees wide out using the weight of the hands here. And we're going to press one inner knee at a time toward the ground. And that's going to create a gentle rocking across the low back. Couple more rocking knees from side to side. And next time that you're rocking to the left, release the hand from the right knee to fold the knees completely out to the left. Roll onto the shoulder, left shoulder. Position yourself in fetal position here. And hands extend in front of your chest, palms together. And you're going to swing and open your right arm up and across to find a twist. Land that right arm to the opposite side. Turn your head to the right. Keep the legs heavy to the left. You may find helpful and beneficial to bring your left hand to the outside of the right knee and maybe add just a tiny bit more weight, not really to pull it down or do anything fancy, just to ground it a little more steady so that the chest, the upper back, the right arm can reach out a little further and drop a little softer. One last breath here. If your left hand is on top of the knee, release it out. And bring your right arm across to the left. Place your right hand to the inside of the right knee and open and roll back to center. Give yourself a couple rolls from side to side across the knees and hips. And then we're going to go to the right. Roll out to the right. Start closing that left knee in and down to meet the right. rolling onto that right side. Extend the arms in front of the chest, palms on top of each other, and then swing the left arm up and across, following with your head, and land into your supported twist. Close your eyes if they're not closed yet. And final touch, if that's what you did on the other side, you want to kind of aim to make it equal, not in all sensations, but in how you engage in the pose. So you may want to place that right hand to the outside of the left knee. Just a little weight here, just a little anchoring. If you decided on the other side not to do such, release your right arm to the side and let it go. Soften across the face, into the jaw, into the throat. Feel the softening of the chest, even in the opening and the twist. One last breath. Releasing the right hand before we switch and bringing your left arm up and across. Sliding that left hand to the inside of the left knee so you can use the hand and arm to pull and roll. Open. Rock a couple times from side to side. Pressing one knee at a time to one side and then rocking to the other side. And back to center. Pull both knees into the chest. Give them a final hug here. And then release. Release and extend your legs out. Release and relax your arms out. And find Shavasana. Again, here you can grab your blanket if you had your blanket ready for your nice and warm Shavasana. Reposition your neck, your head. If you have a pillow, you can put that pillow behind your head. And relax. Relax completely into just being. No more doing. No more following the instructions for the next move to happen. Let the breath be the breath. Let the body be the body. Let the sensation arise and fall and vanish. Let the body weights drop. Eyes relax to the back of the eyelids. And invite a total surrender. And the body let go, the mind follows. And watch what happens. Witness the transition from doing to non-doing. Dissolve into Shavasana, out of space and time. No more past, no more future. Bathing into presence. Still aware, especially if you have sounds around you from neighbors or the street. Not pushing away any of those, not even wishing they weren't there. But abiding into Shavasana. Embracing the here. Embracing the richness of your being when you're simply being. Noticing tiny happenings subtle inner movements. Breath becomes calmer, quieter, naturally lengthens and deepens without giving any specific instructions to it. The heartbeat slows down. And the body stops resisting, getting the full attention of your presence. In the depth of your Shavasana experience, you may recall your Sankalpa, the intention you called upon at the beginning of the practice. It may rise in the same shape and form, or it may show up in a different way. No right, no wrong. Connecting a little closer to that heart desire, the seed of the Sankalpa. Fully realized, fully present within you. And from that space, start awakening to your body. Feeling again the different parts of your body, the different qualities of your body through the spectrum of sensations you're perceiving. When the time has come, you can start moving a little bit in whichever way feels good to you to move. And on your own terms and your own ways, find your way to a side, to a fetal position. No rules, no guidance on how you find it. Just stay really connected to that softness in you and to the hug of the earth underneath you, as expressed by the floor supporting your transition, using the contact with the floor to go to one side. Appreciate the shift and the change. And find another set of support to now take you from the floor up to sitting. Finding an easy seated position, easy cross leg, or anything else that allows your spine to be nice and tall. Eyes are still gently closed. And with your eyes closed, you have a choice here. Either you can keep your hands where they are right now, or you can bring your left hand to your belly and your right hand to the center of the chest, if this is the connection that calls you tonight. Or you may more traditionally bring your hands together in prayer pose, Anjali Mudra, in front of your heart. Whichever of those hand position, hand gestures that you pick to be in tonight, we'll chant one Om to close our practice. Take a deep breath in.